Hey, this is Rosa, RCG Creations. How are you? I'm bringing to you a card. And I'm doing a swap for our face group, and what they do is they give you stuff and you make it into a card. So here's what they gave me. Here's some ribbon. Here's some die cuts of a heart. Another heart. This is an embossed tag. It's not really very embossed very well, so whoever gave it to me didn't do a good job. But you know, you make do with what you got. Here's some little heart stickers. The word cut out love. And what do you call these things? I forget this little critter name. This person, the character. And then some gauze. And some little hearts. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put it all together, and we'll see the beginning and the ending phases. Okay, on the embossed one, I'm going to go ahead and get my little, these are called embossing foam pads for inking. For me, it just makes it easy. I could use my little Bristol brushes, but I'm just going to do it simple because it's really not, it wasn't really embossed very well. And so I'm going to do the whole thing the same color, just to get some color into this red and white. So I'm just going to ink it around. And you want to just put some light pressure. And you can definitely see where the embossing whoever did it didn't emboss very well. They didn't put enough pressure in it. But I'm going to go ahead and go in between the letters. So I'm doing this edge of the pod in between. To give myself color. Oh, this would have been a nice little message. All the different words of love. They're all in different. It just says love, but it's in different fonts. This really would have been a nice one if they had done a better job. Okay, so I'm just inking. Because all I'm doing is inking in between. Because I'm trying not to have no white at all showing. And don't forget, do all the way around. Okay, here we go. Just about all done. Just going over the last little bits because I don't really want any white to show. Sometimes you just have to go back and forth on the parts that are embossed pretty well. Okay. And I use my classic Stampin' Up! Called Mellow Moss. Push that back. And then there is what the tag looks like. Okay. Make sure I got no ink on my hands. Let me get my little towel. Because you definitely, since I'm working with a white cardstock base, make sure there's no color anywhere on my hands. Okay, I went ahead and cut an 8.5 by 11 in half. Now I'm going to fold this down to make my A2 card. A2 size card is 4.5 by 5.5. Excuse me, it's 4.25 by 5.5. Let's see, do I want to go this way or do I want to go, I think I'm going to go this way. Okay, I think I'm going to do this into make this into a bow. If I do part of this and I have enough to do a little bow, I can do that. Let me get my glue. See if I can tell. Usually some ribbon, you know there's the beginning, end, and the end. So let me just go to right here. This. When you're cutting with ribbon, you want to use a sharp pair of scissors. Okay, and I'm just going to put some glue on this little strip right here. Come on, glue. And of course you can do wet glue, double adhesive glue. It's totally up to you. But since I already have my wet glue, I just like using the wet glue because it's a little bit easier to work with. And this is my art glitter glue, so it dries clear. And I have myself some wiggle room to maneuver it. If I get a little crooked, when you do the double adhesive, you don't really have that much wiggle room. And I'm just, anything that's excess, just trim that off. That's why working with really sharp scissors for projects like this really come in handy. Good. Let me get my fuzzies out of here. I'm going to make my little bow. Actually, let's see, how do you do your bow? I'm trying to remember. How do I do a bow? Oh yeah, here we go. Put it like this. I'm going to use my little pen. Here, I don't want to get any markings on my pen. Use that as my whole spot. There's my little knot. Then you do it's just like, basically it's just like tying a shoelace. 'Cause I just don't get the hang of bows. I've seen so many videos. I've Googled it. I've actually traced it. Now my sister, my older sister, she can do really good bows, but I just can't do it. I just can't get it. It just doesn't sink. And I like to have this little edge to be flat. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this down here. Put this down here. Cut this part off. And then I'm going to put a little glue here on my mat because I don't want this to fray. So it'll dry clear. You won't even know it's there. It'll be a little stiff, but you won't really know it's there. And then, see, that's the front of the bow, and that's the back of the bow. And then you see how this side is longer than this one? You want to pull some of this out till you get the length that you want. I'm actually going to make this smaller because I don't want to make this any shorter. Okay, now that's there. And this is easy because I'm going to count my little squares. 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So I can cut off right here. And that'll be a pretty even little bow. See that? Does that turn out cute? How's that? Okay, so now let me get my glue on the part that I just cut off. So I want to make sure it's on both sides. And then on the back part, you can do a glue dot, or you can do your wet glue. It's totally up to you. And I'm going to put it right on the dead center. Hold that down just a tad. What do I have that's heavy? Oh, I have my cell phone. I'm going to put this down here while I get the rest of this part. Get this excess glue. And while that's holding, let's see, what do we want to do? We'll put this over here, put them here. That should be holding tight there. You can kind of maneuver the bow a little bit, but it's pretty much stuck. It's on there. Okay. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Maybe I should have did a glue dot. I'll just hold this for a few minutes while I line this up. I'm gonna do, let's see, love. Oh, what do you call this little critter? Can't think of his name. I think I'm gonna put those on the inside. Love. And I'll put my little hearts. I'll put a little heart over here right above the ribbon, right on the ribbon. I think I'm going to go ahead and use my shiny stuff to make those hearts pop out a little bit. I'll put this on the inside of the card. Okay, what I've done is that white gauze, I turned it red with my alcohol, and what I did is I got a marker. You can use any old marker you want. Break it apart, get a little nub off, the little nib, and then cut the whole thing out, and inside is a plastic filament cover, and inside is this little white stringy stuff. Put the whole thing inside a bottle. Put alcohol in there, and you can do it as the more alcohol you've used, the weaker the color. So I only like to do about like just a little bit above half. I did have a label on here, but it's because it's spilled. And then you just spray it, and then you let it dry. FYI, use gloves. I just didn't want to mess with it because it was such a small amount. So I got a little bit of red on my fingertips. But when you do anything with these markers and alcohol, making your own color, always use gloves so you don't stain your fingers. Okay, so now I just had this on here, and I'm just going to let it dry. But I'm in a rush, so I'm going to get my heat gun, and I'm going to put it to there to dry it up. And I'll bring you back. Okay. I just used an old wipey These are those real thick ones. I forget where I got them from. And I just use that to protect my work area. You can see where it's soaked so much of the ink. And then I just put it to the side for it to dry. And reuse it again because I only use it when I'm using these markers. So let me get myself a wipey, wipe my hands, wipe my surface. Dry my hands from the wipey. And because my base card is white, I want to make sure there's no residue of any color. Okay. So now I'm going to lay my dried. I just dried it with my air gun. Not my air gun, my heat gun. And then I'm just going to, because I have to use most of everything. I don't have to use everything, but mostly everything. So I'm just going to line it up this way. And I'm going to put my glue on the back of this die cut. And then this card is practically done. So let me line it up. Over to the side just a tad. Pick it up. I want the little ridgy part to show. Lay that down. And then I'll add a little bit of glue. I don't want to do too much. So that can adhere to that. And then this card is practically done. Let me get the end edges of this. There we go. This is all set. And I did use the Glossy Accents by Ranger on the little hearts here. These were just paper cutouts and I made them a little shiny, shimmery. Let me see, I hope you can see that. But here's the completed card. So I used the ribbon. They say you don't have to use everything, but they want you to use most of it. So these other pieces that I have left. Here, let me show you what I have left. I'm going to make another card. And there we go. So there's the completed card. And then that's the inside. Whoever the recipients can write whatever you want, or if I'm going to give this to a certain person, I'll go ahead and put a message somewhere on here. But that wasn't part of the project was just to use this card and complete it. But I thank you so very much for watching. You take care. If you have any questions, place a comment. Don't forget to hit subscribe so that way you'll know when my next video shows up. And I do try to put my videos up at least every 2 days. And I'm doing card making, some kind of craft of some kind, and sewing, and recipes, cooking, pressure cooking, not pressure cooking, pressure canning, dehydrating, basically food preservation type of thing. And so far I think that's enough. And that's a lot, and I'm trying to keep busy with COVID, being home and not going anywhere very much. Trying to keep myself busy and active. Thank you so very much for watching. You have a great one. Take care now. Bye-bye.